Welcome on in, everybody. This is Air Angel. Welcome to the Air Show, aka the Vroom Vroom broadcast, unofficial title. This is a marathon submission video for Kirby's Dream Land on Game Boy. Let's get this started now. Alright, so stage 1, Green Green's boss is Whispy Woods. So this is Kirby's Dream Land on Game Boy. I'm currently playing on Game Boy Player via GameCube, and this is an actual Japanese part. There are a couple differences between the Japanese version and the North American and PAL versions. We'll go over that a bit later. So as you can tell, for the first couple seconds of the game, we don't have copy abilities like normal or the usual games in the Kirby series. The very first game, which is this one, didn't come with copy abilities. We'll discuss a couple of sort of pickup abilities. They're temporary though, they only last a couple seconds. We'll talk about those when they come up. But for this section, we are just doing a bunch of damage boosts and trying to get through the lag. There isn't a whole lot of it considering it's a Game Boy game, to be honest, but when you have that many enemies on the screen, you really can't blame the game. At that point. Dropped a little bit, it's alright. And also for anybody that is looking for running this game, you want to inhale at the top of your jump because it's also less lag that way. So for this first boss, just inhale, exhale. Pretty straightforward. Most of these bosses are incredibly RNG based, so there's a couple other Kirby games that I run that you can do some RNG manipulations, but a lot of these, not so much. You don't have that available. Alright, so this should be somewhat familiar to a lot of you. Lololo and La 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 are going to be the bosses at the end of this level. Oh, there's 5 levels, and obviously, like, each room is sort of like its own subsection. What's really good thing about this game is that if you game over, you don't have to restart the entire game over. And if you die, you just start at the beginning of the room, basically. That's always nice, instead of having to redo the entire game. So this game actually came out in April of 1982, and then it came out on in North America, and the PAL versions came later that fall. Published by HAL Laboratory and or developed by HAL Laboratory. Talking is very difficult, apparently. Published by Nintendo. But this enemy set, Lololo and La La La, are incredibly randomized and really sort of annoying. There is a way to get double kills in this, if you're doing it this way, the regular way, which I did not get, but it's alright. There's also a quick kill for that boss. You pick up a curry, which gives you fire-breathing abilities, and you basically have to rush through the other rooms beforehand to get there in time, or else it runs out. But for marathon strats, not doing that today, because you would lose a bunch of time there if you don't get it. And by a bunch of time, I mean like maybe 5-10 seconds. But as I mentioned before, you see that... Oh, we picked it up. So, temporary ability basically just destroys everything in your frame of reference. So I guess I should also talk about the story and like the main plot. So basically King Dedede and his minions steal all the food in Dreamland, as well as sparkling stars used to attain more food, and Kirby's like, excuse me, I would like food, please. So of course Kirby volunteers to retrieve the food in the stars. To stop Dedede. A little fun fact is actually Kirby wasn't even supposed to be the main character in this. Kirby was initially just like quote-unquote dummy character that the developers used before they could define a more like sophisticated looking character. But then they fell in love with it, so. So what I just picked up there is actually a sweet potato in the Japanese version, and in the North American PAL versions it's a mint leaf. So basically it just gives you temporary ability to blow a bunch of air on your enemies without deflating. So this part right here is usually the run killer. We're gonna take it a little more gingerly because this is more of no reset marathon percent. But yeah, you have to be careful with your lives here. Hopefully we get this cycle, it looks pretty good. Yeah, Bubbly Clouds is pretty difficult. I remember playing this as a kid and it being a big old struggle. Oh, and Kirby was supposed to be, or wasn't supposed to be, but the discussion of what color to make Kirby was between pink and yellow, and they went with pink. Obviously in the later Kirby games you can play as different colored Kirbys, I believe, but the original version, the OG Kirby, they went for pink. Alright, so for this room you really just have to stay to the left. If you're a new runner and you don't want to get hit, you can do that, or you can just jump in the middle. But yeah, inhale, exhale enemies. And another random Kirby fact for you. The original name for Kirby was Popopo, and Kirby's Dream Land was titled Twinkle Po, which was interesting. Eventually Kirby was renamed, and then the Japanese version, as we know it, is called Oshi no Kirby, or Kirby of the Stars, which is also the name of the Kirby's anime. Right, so this is the Fire Kirby. Fire Curry. This is what I was mentioning previously. There's another pickup early on before the la fight. That's a little bit trickier strat because you have to get through the room, or the rooms before it, like with enough time before it runs out. Alright, so a little spicy. We got 1 life, 1 HP against the RNG Master Krako. Another run killer extraordinaire. Yeah, most of these bosses definitely reoccur in almost every Kirby game, if I can remember correctly. Some dynamics are a bit different. Yeah, this boss in particular is kind of a pain in the butt to defeat with no abilities. I also run Kirby's Adventure, which is basically this game but extended, but I also run the no abilities category there, so transitioning to this wasn't incredibly different since we don't have abilities. Alright, so everyone loves a good boss rush. You don't have to do them in any real particular order. It's just faster to do the bottom ones first because they're readily available. So for this part you actually have to find yourself before you can enter boss battles, which is always interesting. A little bit too late there, that's alright. Oh, wait there again. But yeah, you can go through parts of the floor that are available to do that. Alright, that actually turned out pretty good. Sometimes they can just stay to the bottom and then you go all the way to the bottom and then they go all the way back to the top. It's a whole thing. So we big fallen until we find yourself and then off to another fight. Since we've basically seen these bosses before, there's a couple of Kirby Facts I have left. Oh, by I think it was May of 1994, Kirby's Dream Land sold over 1 million copies. So just 2 years after it came out, and then to date, it's sold over 5 million copies. I think it's in the top 20 of best games of all time. I would say it's my top 10, personally. This in particular track right here is just so nostalgic. I hope y'all are enjoying the run so far. So we gotta find ourselves, we gotta jump, and then go back. And not get hit with apples. RNG master. Oh, we just bonked into the tree. Fun fact, if you bonk into the tree while falling, you take damage. That's a big go figure for you. I definitely thought the tree was gonna give us a little wisp, but did not, so that's awesome. So for this boss coming up, I want to only maybe take 1 or 2 damage. Going into Dedede with 2 damage is usually preferred. Or more obviously. Just in case you kind of get cornered. We're gonna pick up the sweet potato once more. And we're just gonna charge. And I think this boss is called Kabula. Kabula! Big ol' shoot 'em up. Alright, so we're left with 3 health points, so that's pretty good. So King Dedede has 2 attacks that we can capitalize on, was that one and this one, the hammer. There is a way to collect both of the stars. Hopefully I can show that off for when he does like this ground pound type situation. I always loved the fact that it was in the in like a boxing ring. I thought it was pretty cool. Kinda got stuck there and didn't get a pickup, that's okay. Come on. So yeah, obviously you don't want to touch King Dedede and you don't want to get inhaled. Loses time and health. Okay, I didn't get that, but that's alright. Oh. We just need to get 1 more hit and timer ends on this last hit. Right there. And that's time. But yeah, so that's Kirby's Dream Land. I hope you enjoyed this video. And also, after completing the extra game, you get this code that lets, or I should say there's, you get a code after you play the extra game. There's an extra game that's a bit harder after this, but then you get a code that you could adjust the settings and play it easier or harder and stuff like that. So there's further playing after this. anybody wanted to give it a shot. Once again, thank you so much for watching my video. Again, my name is Air Angel, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, week, month, year, etc. Thanks!